we'll discuss in a bit the challenges or ailing our families in our society.
Yeah.
But before we go there, let me know what you're reading.
Yeah.
I'm reading a lot of stuff.
Okay.
I read a lot. I do a lot of research because it's part of what we do.
Yeah.
And I like to be, at least to have information, up-to-date information. Because when you're working with children, they're really curious and you can't...
They ask questions.
Exactly,
yeah.
So I am reading The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari.
Yeah.
This was a book that was referred to me by a friend, a colleague of mine. Yeah, and it's, I've not finished it.
It's a good book,
It's
yeah.
really, have you read it?
Girl.
Yeah? Yeah, it's quite nice.
Yeah, like maybe I read it maybe 5-6 years ago.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
It's a good book.
The Monk Who Sold His, it's quite nice.
Yeah.
And it's tiny, it's not like a very big book.
Yeah.
And then there's this book called 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. Like, it's really... There's a lot going on. Like it's a
It's like a
deep-
Give us
handbook
one
for
lesson.
the decade.
It's quite a lot.
Give
So
us one lesson.
Technology.
Aha.
It's coming. It's a wave. It's gonna change.
It's already here.
It's here. It's changing the way things work. How we do things. So,
Yeah.
the question is, where are you? Are you going to adapt early, or are you going to be the people? You see, like for example, when Ubers were introduced in this country, there's a lot of resistance from
To date.
Exactly. So you see people burnt cars and So technology is coming in. How can you use it to
work for you.
To work for you.
Yeah. So where did you buy your books? That one you were given, and this one?
This one was a gift, actually. This was a
You
gift.
know, you don't buy for yourself books.
No, the thing is, I buy them, but I read them on Kindle. Online.
Oh,
I got it for
yeah, the
a gift.
Amazon.
Yes.
Yes.
So I use, because it's less bulky.
Yeah.
When you have Kindle, you have all your books
Yeah,
on.
you
have
work
an
with it.
iPad. So
Yeah.
we read a lot of books on soft. Not
Okay.
necessarily hard
I like
copy.
this title. I think I'm going to look for that.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. Okay, cool. 21 lessons for the 21st century.
You're headed for that
Okay.
century, yeah.
Well, me, I'm a
Proper.
hard copy guy. I've tried that handbook. My wife is the one who's good with the online.
Soft copies, the Kindles.
That is not my vibe.
Yeah.
That is not my vibe.
Yeah.
So me, I'm a hard copy kind of guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you reading?
So at this point, let me begin with this one. This one is small. Which one?
Stories from
Dark.
Africa.
This one is I'm trying to incorporate myself into African writers. After staying away and then staying in a very westernized culture. Catherine, you've been to Cape Town. Cape Town is very westernized.
It's like Europe.
Yeah, it's very. So when you go there, one of my neighbors was actually a librarian. Yes, her name was Fadila. And Fadila is the one who actually introduced me to African writers. And she's colored. So she sounds like, oh yeah, I like the books you're reading. Do you read African writers? It's like, well, I read some when I was in high school when we were doing literature.
Yeah, the set books.
Do you know after that people don't usually do African writers?
Yeah.
So that's how I ended up getting this one when I was in South Africa. So it has short stories.
Okay.
And then the short stories are covered in different African countries.
Okay,
A
nice.
Nigerian story, a Kenyan story,
Nice.
a South African story,
Yeah.
a Moroccan story, an Egyptian story. Very interesting. You get to see other cultures and how they interpret. This other one was, South Africa was very interesting. It dealt with religion. I was very religious. I hate being religious now. Terribly. This book is known as World Religion and Cults. And it was tackling how, because we lived in a predominantly Islamic neighborhood.
Okay.
So I thought I knew Islam, but I wanted to understand, how do these people operate? How do they think? Where do they come from? And I bumped into this book when I was leaving campus. You know those people who hawk books in the streets?
Yeah.
It's like, this looks interesting.
Yeah.
And then it looks like a handbookish. You can tell by the way
Yes,
it's... So it's a simple read.
Very.
I cleared it in a day.
Wow.
So
So it's a book about?
the book covers about different religions in a different... So it covers one God religions, blended beliefs,
Okay.
and then philosophical religions, and then no God beliefs, and then how to practice your religion. So once you know where you are, how do you practice it? So my goal was to understand these other people who come my way, how do they think? Because once you understand what they believe,
Yeah.
it's very easy for you to
To
interact with
relate,
someone.
yes.
You
I
understand?
agree.
Because relation is human beings. what I'm teaching my kids, human beings are the most important
Yes.
people. So once we know this person thinks like this, when you meet an Indian and you understand, oh, this is what is important to an Indian,
Yeah.
then it's very easy for you to relate to that guy.
Yeah.
It's very easy for you to have a conversation.
It's true.
See where
Because
they
you
come
understand
from.
them.
Precisely.
Yeah, give me that book. I need to take a shot because I want to buy it.
This one. And then this one was Yancy. This is my favorite writer, my favorite religious writer. His name is Philip Yancey.
Okay. Yeah.
This book is known as The Jesus I Never Knew. Man, this thing shredded Christ into pieces. And understanding this guy, man, you know Jesus from a Bible story kind of perspective. This guy takes a story and just shreds it into pieces. Takes a perspective like the perspective he takes about, there's a verse that says, it's more blessed to believe without seeing. Jesus is very clear that if you believe me without seeing, it's because I have never seen Jesus.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I've never seen him. I've never. So I've never seen this guy.
But you believe in him.
But I believe in him.
Yeah.
You understand? So, but he talks about the paradox of him having to reveal himself to his disciples who had run away, who were in hiding, for them to believe. And then he breaks it down properly on how he had to face the paradox of, guys, it's me. Whatever I was telling you is true.
Yeah.
And these guys were like, oh my
You're making all of us want to buy that book.
So just, I like people who break down analogies.
Got
you know?
it, yeah.
And now that he's talking about reading, fortunately, I was fortunate enough to go to a university in my senior years, when I turned 30. And I had never read a research paper before. I did not know how to read one. So being equipped, do you know not everyone can read a research paper? Not everyone can receive one and understand, oh, this is an abstract, oh, okay, this is where you go for this, this is what he's referencing here. So just being equipped on how to tackle information is a skill by itself that very few people are privileged to have.
Yeah.
So when I read this book with that skill, it is mind-blowing.
We can tell.
I was reading a book and I was just seeing fireworks.
Yeah, we can see them too as you speak.
Yeah.
We can see them. Okay.
This is
Good
where I'm
stuff.
at right now.
Yeah.
This is where I'm at right now in my life.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. I love it when people are reading something, whether it's a newspaper, a research paper, a blog online. I love it, and you can also share with us what you're reading, because it's good. I mean, I think books are good for development.
It is very true.
Yeah, they are. So the challenges facing our families now, from what you have observed, from the people you've interacted with, what are they?
Just from my experience of working with children in class, you find children are really, really intelligent. Children are really smart. And I feel like we don't give them enough credit for how smart they are. Sometimes we think children will not understand. If you guys are having demands at home, if there's something going on in the house, you think that the child doesn't get it, but a child can even feel. Even if it's a toddler who can't speak, they can pick emotion. They say trust is something that a child learns by the time they're 2. They already understand the concept of trust. Like, do I feel safe? Can I trust someone? So you want to create an environment that is enabling for your child. So you find children, coming from different families, blended families, single parent families, and you meet their parents, whether they're moms or dads, and they're really passionate about, bringing up children. So you find a parent saying, if it's a mom, for example, you're convinced that you want your son to be better than his dad, who, let's say, for example, is not in the picture. So constantly you hear people saying, I want my son to be better than
my ex.
But my question is how? How are you going to make your son better than he was? Because you're not a man. Like, you could be a very strong, independent woman, and and you're really strong. And the same applies for the opposite gender. A very focused man, you're working hard, you have money, you're providing for the family, but you can't teach a child to be who you're not. You know what I don't know if you get what I mean.
totally, yeah.
Yeah, so you find, like, even in high school, you're dealing with students who are like, they feel like their parents have not really done quite enough for them. So you see the aspect of emotional control, being in charge of emotions. So you find a boy who's been brought up by a single mom, for example, and he's like, I don't want to be like my dad. If he wasn't there for me, I don't want to be like him. So you're constantly in the rage of I don't want. Yeah, and it's actually the same thing applies to me, because my blood dad was not there for us when we were growing up. Mr. Gitao, who's the founder of Peak Performance International, has been my mentor and my father. So I'm lucky in the sense that he's mentored me, he's taught me. In fact, he's taught me to get over the rage I had, because I felt my dad wasn't there for me.
Yeah. I
was so bitter. And that, remember when you said that the relationship between parents goes along in affecting how children view relationships. So first, I was like, my dad, from where he is, I'm never going to get a guy from there. I don't like them, they're not. So all this rage drives you to becoming, if not like your dad, worse than him. So you find if like a teenage boy is like, I don't want to be like my dad, he was never there for me. He has all these children with different women. By the time he's in campus or he's clearing, he already has 2 different children with 2 different women, and he still doesn't like his dad. But I'm like, look closer. You're becoming your dad.
You actually are your dad.
Yeah, so having to deal, just helping people deal with the issues that they have, because we all do have issues. And if you don't deal with that, it's going to really go along in affecting how you relate with people.
Yeah.
Concentration is a big problem. Children are not able to focus on one task at a time. So you find teachers in school are saying children are hyperactive, the child cannot sit. I'm frustrated in class anytime I'm teaching because focus is not enough. Self-esteem and confidence is a major thing. Children just being able to feel comfortable in their own skin. We had a class last week, and you're talking to students, and I like to ask them, what do you consider to be your greatest strength and your weakness, or something you can improve on, as we're giving each other feedback. And they're like, I learn fast, I take instructions very well. Everybody has a strength. And then in one particular class, 80% of the students told me that they don't know what to do when someone hurts them, when someone does something wrong to you. And you see how the brain works is you have 2 sides of the brain, right? The left and the right. And the right side of the brain, the left side is in charge of IQ. So, we're pushing children to go to school and work really hard, and, and that's good, IQ. It's good to have a high IQ, be smart. But then emotional intelligence, on the other hand, is a function of the right side of the brain. So I would rather have a student who's balanced, average, like, you're studying okay, and then you're in charge of emotions, than have a very intelligent person who can't control the emotions, because you can't even work with them, even in the corporate world.
They're the ones actually end up killing themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, or other people even, you find people fight, and then you say, I snapped, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
So, emotional intelligence, I felt that was quite pressing for me. And these are class 7 children. The ones that just cleared, joining class 8 next year.
Yeah.
And then so that was 80% of them. And then the rest said that they lose interest easily. Like they lose focus easily.
Yeah.
They're in class and something is happening, they can follow through, but only, for a little bit. We talked to some heads of schools, and they're saying bullying is still, of course, and has always been something that's quite major. But this particular teacher told us bullying has moved from, and not for every school, but it's not happening in school anymore. Like the way we used to be bullied, but it's happening online. On social media, right? So you see, if as a parent you don't have a very good, I don't know if to call it a good, if you're really not your child's friend,
right,
or you don't know what's happening in their lives, and for many reasons, you're busy, you're busy providing for them, paying for their school fees, there's so many things going on, but it doesn't happen in school, and it's not happening at home, and it's happening online. So you find, people do things, and parents and they're not aware.
Clueless.
They really do not know, and communicating. Constantly being in touch with your child, understanding what's happening in their life is quite important. I would say. Yeah. So, yeah.
Wow. Kroba, what have you seen are the challenges families are going through now?
Time.
Wow.
Time is what I was very fortunate that I never worked a single day in South Africa. That is a blessing, because I had the time. The amount of trips we did in that Cape Town, man, we covered that land properly. I remember there were days we would open the map and say, close your eyes, weka kidole. pa nasema hapo ndo tunaenda.
Wow.
And we go hata kama hakuna kitu.
Yeah.
Tuseme hebu tuone tutafanya nini hapa.
Yeah.
Tuende napata nikifahamu.
Yeah.
Sasa kuna grapes.
Yeah.
Tunaenda tunasema hi Naji, I'm an international student here. I brought my kids. Would you mind if we taste some grapes? Oh, somehow, where are you guys from? Oh, Kenya, blah, 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 chip. Shamba, grapes. Vitu ndogo hivyo. Vitu ndogo hivyo.
Wow.
And kids never forget. So time is what nimepapa.
I like it.
Time is the challenge that I've seen.
Most families.
Yeah. Because if people are not intentional with it, itashanga. When I visit my buddies, tunaingianga hivi kwa hao. TV con. So TV con, mnakaa mnaongea, then hiyo ni nini nimeona kwa TV? Mnakaa
There's a lot of distractions.
Mko in a moment, then a moment is taken away. It's taken away. That's why I don't want my wife. Sasa mbona nilikuwa sina TV kwa nyumba? Because in my house watu kuja tunasema, we'll just be there for 2 hours. Mna watu toka midnight. Because hakuna distraction.
And it's meaningful conversation.
So we're just flowing. We are flowing.
I love it.
Ikigonga mawe wacha igonge.
Wacha
kukuwe na hiyo
silence.
Hiyo silence watu ende.
Unaangaliana
watu ende. Something else will come.
And
then boom.
Yeah.
And in the process something fruitful is mentioned.
I like
Someone says something that sticks into my heart and I go like,
awesome.
This is it.
Love it. So as we wind up, I'll start with you. What advice could you give to families to stay together? There's so many things, even things like infidelity. So you find there's been infidelity in a relationship from whichever spouse. It's not just the man. Could even be the woman. And there's hurt, there's bitterness, and we pretend we've forgiven each other, but we haven't, because if you don't forgive, then it doesn't leave that home. And kids, like she said, they sense those things. They sense hapa kuna kitu. You know, so there's quite a lot going on with our families. Now you find, and I hope I don't come off as stereotypical, but you find, for example, campus girls saying, what, me, I'm the one who belongs to him. That wife thinks she's the one, me, I'm the one. You know such things. So you wonder, by the time this 21-year-old girl has reached there, where, as in, you don't even want to believe for your own, you're happy spoiling someone's home. You're like, what happened to you, you know? And she'll address those things in her wind-up, whatever. But how can families just deliver themselves from evil, so to speak, and you talk to them on camera?
The first thing we need to agree is this. We've seen narratives, we've had narrative. A narrative is something that is extremely powerful. A narrative is how a story is told. Understand? The person telling the story has a perspective. So he wants you to grasp this story from this perspective. So at the end of the day, always ask yourself, where am I? Hii story mse ananipatia akiwa wapi? Nashika. So these girls end up making this decision because the amount of narratives they have consumed over time has been, we've seen these things working. We have seen people have side girls on the side and they are working. And this narrative has been pumped and pumped into you until you have agreed it. It's now funny. It's now humor. It's now humor. Watu wanaweza cheka, nani yako na klande sahi. Watu ucheka. So you notice the narrative has been told for so long, it's dampened your heart. You find it as okay. Ati nani? Yeah. But I think nisikia nani akona kadema na kuanga ameka hapo buru. Yeah, and it's not shocking anymore. It's because the narrative has been told for so long, it's not part of normal. That's why a 21-year-old girl can make that decision, because that's the narrative she has consumed all this time when her brain was developing, and it's not. That is to answer that question. But concerning families, this is what I usually tell them. If your life is not at risk, you know what risk is? Are you being physically abused? Are you in a place where you feel, hapa utakufa, then go? That one I'll tell you, go. But all these other things can be worked out. There are usually ways of working this thing out. If you seek for help, yes. If the other partner is not willing to work out, man, we all try. Unanishika, we all try. Some things work, some things don't work. It's life.
Wow.
It's life.
Love it.
By the way, it's life.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kroba and Alice. How do you salvage our families?
So maybe just before I say that, some other things that also happen. Families are different. You find people are battling with alcoholism, drug and substance abuse, death of a spouse. You find a child that has come from class and they lost their mom or their dad. They're still very young to grasp it. So it's something they're willing to openly discuss and say, I don't know if mom is going to come back or this or that happened. Or there's actually like one particular time you find a child in class, he was crying. And then I said, what's wrong? And he's like, I just found out that my dad has another child who's my age. Okay? So, and this is a child who's 5, 6, 7 years. So you would think this is something that they would not understand. They're still too young. But and I say, so why are you crying? Then he's like, because I don't feel happy. I hear, even like when I was born, he didn't come, but he was there with the other child. So you start, already at that level, a child is already beginning to develop feelings of I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy of the love. And that's why you find that when people grow up, so even the girls you're saying, the 21-year-olds, they could be hearing narratives, but they could be broken themselves. You could be dealing with daddy issues.
Definitely.
So when you have someone who's old, when you have a sponsor, they call them, when you're relating with them, as much as everybody talks about the concept of money, which is okay, I'm not disputing it, but there's a feeling of, I'm with someone who's old enough to be my dad. There's a craving, there's something that you crave and you don't get. And I don't know, I'm not taking sides, I don't know why they do what they do. But yeah, so communication is the first thing I would say in any family. Just talk. I agree with what you said, Ekonka. Many things are going to happen. If you've lost a spouse, there's so many things that are happening in your life at that particular time. It's a roller coaster of emotions, very many things going on. So seek for help. There are people, the specialists who can do this, they can help you. Talk about it, man or woman, it doesn't matter who you are. You're human, you get hurt, so talk, find help. Expose yourself to information, read books, talk to people. Yeah, so that's what I would say. But just communicate, talk, and of course, depending on your spiritual life, whatever it is that grounds you, whether it's your family or your religion. But I would say communicate. It's okay to get hurt. Seek help.
Seek help. How can people reach you?
On Facebook, so Peak Performance International is our official Facebook handle, Instagram and Twitter, and on our website. That's www.peakperformance-int.com. Okay.
And Kroba, how can people reach you?
You can just give me on social media at DJ Kroba on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Good stuff.
Yes.
Guys, this was so good.
Same, man.
This was so good.
That was very profound, by the way.
Thank you.
A lot of that. You're really doing a good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, as you are with your family. Kudos to you.
Thank you.
Kudos to you. Model for families. Yes. Thank you for coming to the show today.
Thank you for having us.
Okay. And thank you for watching the show. So for more information, check us out on KTN Life and Style on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And for those who like to send me DMs and things, you'll find me on Facebook as Catherine Mwangi and on Twitter and Instagram at Kath Mwangi. Thank you so much for watching. Contribute to this conversation. It's not over. Let's talk about it. And like they said, seek help. So if it's peak performance or if you want to have a conversation with Kroba privately, just talk to someone. Let's save our families as best as we can. Have a wonderful day.